before the first stone of Chichén Itzá was ever lifted, before the great feathered serpent cast its shadow upon the steps of El Castillo, there existed a world shrouded in jungle and silence. This was a world ruled not by kings with iron swords, but by the rhythm of the stars and the rain, long before Columbus crossed the ocean, before Rome fell, even before the ancient pyramids of Europe had weathered to dust. The Maya civilization flourished in the very heart of Mesoamerica. Their cities rose from the forest floor like emerald islands, hidden beneath the canopy of giant ceiba trees and the eternal hum of cicadas. These were not just settlements, they were epicenters of science, religion, and power. It was here, in what we now call the Yucatan Peninsula, that humanity dared to build not just temples, but entire calendars of stone living monuments to time itself. The Maya were never a single, unified empire. Instead, they were a constellation of powerful city-states, each ruled by kings who claimed divine blood. Their strength didn't come from iron tools or the wheel, which they didn't use for transport. It came from knowledge. They were masters of astronomy, mathematics, and the sacred cycles of the heavens. They meticulously mapped the movements of Venus, charted eclipses centuries in advance, and built observatories that aligned perfectly with the cosmos. To the Maya, the universe wasn't some distant, cold expanse. It was alive. The gods spoke through the stars, and time was a divine current that could be measured, shaped, and honored. From this profound understanding, they built cities that were reflections of the cosmos. Their pyramids and plazas were physical calendars carved into limestone, designed to connect the earth with the sky. By the year 600 CE, their world was entering a golden age. Majestic cities like Palenque, Tikal, and Calakmul reached heights of sophistication that rivaled any civilization on Earth. Towering temples pierced the jungle skyline, their walls covered in painted murals, telling stories of gods, kings, and creation, and their intricate system of glyphs recorded every breath of their history births. But far to the north, in the dry, flat limestone plains of the Yucatan, a different destiny was taking shape, one that would outlast them all. Here, the landscape was unique. Beneath the dense green canopy lay no surface rivers. Instead, rainwater had carved vast underground caverns and sinkholes, known as Sin. To the Maya, these weren't just wells. They were sacred gateways, portals to Xibalba, the mystical underworld of gods and ancestors. And it was here, gathered around these sacred wells, that the city of Chichén Itzá would rise. Imagine it. The 8th century. The air is heavy with humidity, filled with the loud calls of macaws and the sweet scent of blooming orchids. A small settlement gathers around a large natural well-the-well of the Itza people. First, they build simple shrines, then grander temples, and soon, a city begins to take form. They called it Chichén Itzá, which means at the mouth of the well of the Itza. From this sacred ground, a new center of power began to emerge. Traders, warriors, and astronomers from all corners of Mesoamerica converged here, drawn by the city's growing reputation as a nexus between worlds. Over time, it grew to become the beating heart of the northern Yucatan, a place where the sacred and the scientific, the earthly and the divine, were woven together. But even in this golden dawn, the seeds of mystery were sown. Who were the first builders of Chichén Itzá? Was it the Itza? People themselves? Migrants from the west? Or were they descendants of an even older, forgotten kingdom? Archaeologists still debate the true origins of its founders, because beneath every temple lies another, older one. The city is layered like time itself. The stones whisper of influences from across Mesoamerica. We see Toltec art from central Mexico, depictions of foreign deities, and architectural styles that are unusual for the deep jungle. It is as if the city was born from a great gathering of civilizations, a cultural fusion that made Chichén Itzá unlike any other Maya site. Whatever the truth of its origins, by the 10th century, its rise was unstoppable. The forgotten empire had found its crown jewel, a city destined to echo across millennia. As the jungle slowly wrapped its green arms around the older Maya cities to the south, The people of Chichén Itzá looked upward. They didn't seek to conquer new lands, but to understand the universe. To them, heaven and earth were connected by ritual, architecture, and time. And in the centuries to come, they would carve that profound belief into stone, creating monuments so precise that even the sun itself would bow before their design. In our next chapter, the sacred city rises. El Castillo takes form, and the gods themselves descend in a spectacle of light and shadow. Imagine, if you will, a world shrouded in emerald green, where the roar of the jaguar echoes through a labyrinth of stone and sky. This isn't a fantasy. It was the reality of the Maya civilization around the year 600 CE. While parts of Europe were navigating the so-called Dark Ages, the Maya was stepping into their own golden age, a period of unparalleled brilliance that still captivates us today. In the heart of the Petén Basin, great city-states rose from the jungle floor, becoming beacons of culture, science, and power. Cities whose very names resonate with mystery and grandeur. Palenque, Tikal, and the mythical. These weren't just settlements. They were sprawling metropolises, vibrant hubs of life that, in their complexity and artistry, rivaled any civilization on Earth at the time. Picture yourself standing in the Grand Plaza of Tikal. Above you, the Temple of the Great Jaguar, a colossal limestone pyramid, pierces the jungle canopy, its summit a staircase to the heavens. The air hums with the activity of thousands merchants trading obsidian and jade, priests chanting invocations to the gods, and astronomers meticulously charting the movements of the stars and planets with breathtaking accuracy. Their understanding of celestial cycles was so advanced, their calendars so precise, that they could predict eclipses centuries into the future. Travel west to Palenque, nestled amidst jungle-clad hills. Here, the architecture is more elegant, more refined. The Temple of the Inscription stands as a testament to one of their greatest rulers, Kainich Hanab, Pakal. Inside, a hidden staircase leads down into the earth, to a royal tomb filled with treasures and secrets. The walls of the city's palaces are adorned with intricate stucco reliefs and vibrant murals, painted in hues of red, blue, and yellow. These weren't mere decorations, they were living narratives, telling the epic stories of their gods, the genealogies of their divine kings, and the cosmic story of creation itself. And then there was Calakmul, the head of the powerful Snake Kingdom, locked in a centuries-long struggle for dominance with Tikal. Its sheer scale is staggering, with over 6,500 structures identified, dominated by two massive pyramids. This was a superpower, a political and military giant whose influence stretched across the Maya world. The rivalry between Tikal and Calakmul was the defining geopolitical conflict of the classic Maya period. A grand Game of Thrones played out beneath the Central American sun. Every aspect of their lives, every significant event, was painstakingly recorded. The Maya developed one of the most sophisticated writing systems in the ancient world. Beautiful and complex system of glyphs, on towering stone stelae, on ceramic vessels, and in books made of bark paper. They wrote down their history. They recorded the births of kings, the dates of epic battles, the ascension of new rulers, the alignment of the planets, and even their dreams. Each glyph is a window into their minds, a voice speaking to us across a chasm of 1,000 years. But history is a river, and its currents are always shifting. While these great southern cities were reaching their zenith, a different story was beginning to unfold far to the north, in the flat, dry limestone plains of the Yucatan Peninsula. This was a land with a different character, a different spirit. It was a world without visible rivers, a stark contrast to the verdant south. Here, the key to life wasn't found on the surface, but deep within the earth. For millennia, rainwater had seeped through the porous limestone, carving out a secret subterranean world, a vast network of underground rivers and water-filled caverns, known as the Maya of the Yucatan. Didn't just see these as sources of fresh water, they were sacred. These deep, dark pools were considered portals, gateways to the mystical underworld, the realm they called Shabala. This was the home of their gods, the resting place of their ancestors. To gaze into a cenote was to look into the eye of the cosmos itself, and it was here, in this unique landscape defined by these sacred wells, that a new power would rise. A city whose destiny was to outlast the great southern kingdoms. It was here that Chichén Itzá would be born. The name itself means at the mouth of the well of the Itza. Its very identity was tied to these sacred waters. The decline of the southern cities like Tikal and Palenque around the 9th century is one of history's great mysteries, a phenomenon often called the classic Maya collapse. But it wasn't the end of the Maya people, it was a transformation, a shift in power. As the south faded, the north began to flourish, and Chichén Itzá became the epicenter of this new era. The city that emerged was a stunning fusion of cultures. It blended traditional Maya architectural styles with new influences, likely from Toltec peoples from central Mexico. This cultural exchange created something unique, a cosmopolitan center that controlled the lucrative coastal trade routes, dealing in salt, honey, cotton, and cacao. Walk through Chichén Itzá today, and you feel this powerful synthesis. You see the Temple of Kukulcán, also known as El Castillo, a perfect four-sided pyramid that functions as a massive stone solar calendar. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the setting sun casts a shadow that creates the illusion of a feathered serpent god slithering down the pyramides, northern staircase, awe-inspiring display of architectural and astronomical genius. You can stand before the Temple of the Warriors, with its vast colonnades of carved pillars depicting fierce soldiers. You can explore the Great Ball Court, the largest of its kind in Mesoamerica, where athletes played a ritual game that was a matter of life and death, a reenactment of celestial battles. And you can gaze into the depths of the sacred cenote, the well of sacrifice, where offerings of gold, jade, pottery, and even human beings were given to the rain god, Chalk, in hopes of securing his favor. The story of the Maya is not one of a lost civilization that simply vanished. It is a story of resilience, adaptation, and transformation. From the towering temples of the southern jungles to the sacred wells of the northern plains, their journey is a powerful reminder of the incredible heights of human achievement. They were astronomers, mathematicians, artists, architects, and scribes, who built a world that, even in its ruins, continues to inspire wonder and challenge our understanding of the past. Their glyphs may no longer be carved in stone, but their legacy is written in the stars they mapped and the earth they revered. Imagine a world not of continents and oceans, but of porous, sun-baked limestone, a flat expanse stretching as far as the eye can see, where the only true frontier lies not across the horizon, but deep beneath your feet. Welcome to the Yucatan Peninsula, a landscape that holds one of ancient America's most profound secrets. Beneath the thin soil and jungle canopy lies a hidden, subterranean world, an intricate labyrinth of submerged caves and shimmering wells. These are the cenotes, the sacred pools of the Maya. For a civilization thriving in a land without rivers, these natural sinkholes were the absolute source of life, the givers of precious, life-sustaining water. But they were so much more than that. The Maya believed these crystalline waters were portals, gateways, where the mortal world touched the divine. They saw the cenotes as the birthplace of their gods, the watery womb from which creation itself sprang forth. It was here, in the cool, silent depths, that they sought to commune with the powerful deities who governed their existence. From the god of rain to the lords of the underworld, Shibab, each ripple on the surface was a whisper from another realm. From these sacred waters, a mighty civilization rose, long before European ships ever crossed the Atlantic. Long before the age of steel and gunpowder, the Maya conceived of a city that would be an earthly mirror of the cosmos. They called it Chichén Itzá. This was no ordinary settlement. It was a masterpiece of engineering, astronomy, and faith. A grand calendar built from stone and sweat. Every temple, every plaza, every ball court was painstakingly aligned with the celestial dance of the sun, the moon, and the planet Venus. The Maya were master observers of the heavens, and Chichén Itzá was their magnum opus, living almanac, tracking the passage of time and the will of the gods. Think about the sheer genius required. Without modern tools, they designed structures that would precisely capture the light and shadow of equinoxes and solstices. The Great Pyramid, El Castillo is the most famous example. On the spring and fall equinoxes, as the sun sets, a shadow in the shape of a serpent is seen to slither down the pyramid's northern staircase, a divine spectacle heralding the changing seasons. This wasn't just architecture, it was a conversation with the universe. The city was a bustling hub of culture and commerce, drawing people from all over Mesoamerica. Its art and architecture show a fascinating blend of traditional Maya styles with influences from other powerful groups, like the Toltecs from central Mexico. This fusion created a unique and vibrant culture that dominated the Yucatan for centuries. The Great Bull Court, the largest of its kind, hosted ritual games where life and death hung in the balance, played out under the watchful eyes of carved stone reliefs depicting gods and kings. But why here? Why did they choose this specific spot in the vast jungle? The answer, once again, lies beneath the ground. Chichén Itzá was built around a cluster of large, open cenotes, most notably the Cenote Sagrado, or sacred cenote. This enormous imposing sinkhole was not just a source of water for the city. It was its spiritual heart. Archaeologists have dredged its depths and uncovered a breathtaking array of offerings, precious jade, intricate pottery, gold, and even human remains. These weren't random sacrifices, they were desperate pleas and grateful offerings to Chak, the rain god, in a land where drought meant starvation. The cenote was an oracle, a direct line to the forces that controlled their fate. Throwing their most valuable possessions and, sometimes, their own people into its murky waters was the ultimate act of faith. Imagine standing on the edge of the Cenote Sagrado. Today, the air is thick, the jungle hums with life, and the dark water below is still and silent. You can almost feel the weight of history, the echoes of ancient prayers, and the solemnity of rituals performed centuries ago. It's a place that commands reverence, a tangible link to a world where the spiritual and the physical were inextricably intertwined. The rise of Chichén Itzá was a golden age, but like all great empires, its power eventually waned. Around the 13th century, the city began a slow decline. The exact reasons are still debated by historians. Perhaps it was prolonged drought, internal conflict, or the rise of competing city-states. But even as its grand plazas fell silent and the jungle began to reclaim its stone temples, the legacy of Chichén Itzá and the sacred cenotes endured. The Maya people never disappeared. They adapted. Their culture evolved, and their descendants still live in the Yucatan today, many speaking the same language as their ancestors who built these magnificent structures. For them, the cenotes remain sacred places, imbued with spiritual significance. The stories of the rain god and the underworld spirits are still told, passed down through generations. Visiting these sites today is more than just a history lesson. It's an immersive journey into a different way of seeing the world. When you walk through the colonnades of the Temple of 1,000 Warriors or Gays, you're walking in the footsteps of priests, astronomers, and kings who believed their destiny was written in the stars and reflected in the sacred waters below. The Yucatan Peninsula is a land of duality, a world of brilliant sun and deep shadow, of life-giving water and a mysterious underworld. Chichén Itzá and its cenotes are the ultimate expression of this duality. They tell a timeless story of human ingenuity, our eternal quest for meaning, and our profound connection to the natural world. It's a story written in stone and water, a testament to a civilization that truly reached for the heavens from the depths of the earth. Ever wonder how a city becomes a legend? How it grows from a simple settlement into an empire that echoes through eternity? Today, we journey back in time, deep into the heart of the Yucatan jungle, to witness the birth of one of the world's greatest wonders, Chichén Itzá. Picture this. It's the 8th century. The air is thick, alive with the vibrant coals of macaws and the sweet fragrance of orchids. Here, nestled in the dense green, a small community gathers around a natural well. They call themselves the Itza, and this well is their lifeblood, their sacred connection to the underworld. Tekale, Chisi, Hen, Itza. At the mouth of the well of the Itza. This isn't just a place to drink, it's a portal between worlds. From these humble beginnings, something magical starts to happen. First, small shrines appear, simple offerings to the gods. But the faith of the Itza is powerful. Soon, those shrines become grand temples, their stone steps reaching for the heavens. A city's born its layout, mirroring the stars above. The well that gave it life now lies at the heart of a bustling metropolis, a new center of power in the ancient Mayan world. Word of this burgeoning city spreads like wildfire. Through the jungle, traders arrive there, canoes laden with jade, obsidian, and brilliant feathers. Warriors, draped in jaguar skins, pledge their allegiance. And perhaps most importantly, astronomers and priests flock here, drawn by the city's growing fame. They see it not just as a place of commerce, but as a nexus, a point where the earthly and the divine intertwine. Chichén Itzá is becoming the beating heart of the northern Yucatan. Here, science and spirituality dance together. The Great Pyramid, El Castillo, is built not just as a temple, but as a colossal calendar. Its 365 steps mark the days of the year. During the equinox, the shadow of a serpent god, Kukulcan, appears to slither down its grand staircase, a breathtaking fusion of architectural genius and cosmic alignment. Every stone, every carving, holds a dual meaning, a testament to a civilization that saw the universe in a grain of sand and eternity in a fleeting moment. But even as this golden city rises, a deep mystery is being etched into its very foundations. Who were these brilliant Itza people? Where did they come from? Some legends say they were migrants, travelers from the west, who found their destiny at the mouth of this sacred well. Others whisper of an older, forgotten kingdom, that the Itza were merely inheritors of a legacy far more ancient than we can imagine. Archaeologists are still piecing together this incredible puzzle, and the clues are tantalizing. Every time they excavate, they find something astonishing. Beneath every temple, there's another, older one. Underneath every plaza, a more ancient courtyard. Chichén Itzá is a city layered like time itself, a Russian doll of history, each layer holding its own secrets, its own stories. It's a place that was built, abandoned, and reconquered multiple times, each new culture adding its own chapter to the epic saga. Imagine the builders, their hands calloused from cutting stone, placing each block with a precision that modern engineers still marvel at. What were their dreams? What did they fear? They built a city so advanced that its acoustic properties are stunning. A clap at the base of El Castillo creates an echo that sounds like the chirp of the sacred quetzal bird. Was this an accident, or an intentional act of architectural magic, designed to bring their gods to life? The city's influence grew immense. Its art and architecture show a fascinating blend of cultures. You can see the classic Maya designs alongside new, more militaristic styles, evidence of contact with other powerful groups like the Toltecs from central Mexico. Was this a peaceful exchange or a violent conquest? The carvings tell conflicting stories of noble alliances and brutal sacrifices. Chichén Itzá wasn't just a city, it was a melting pot, a place where ideas, beliefs, and bloodlines converged and clashed. The cenote sagrado, the sacred cenote, that gave the city its name, also became the keeper of its darkest secrets. Over the centuries, countless offerings were cast into its murky depths, not just precious gold, jade, and pottery, but human sacrifices. Skeletons of men, women, and children had been found, their stories lost to the silent water. Were they willing offerings, or victims of a desperate priesthood trying to appease angry gods during times of drought and strife? The well that gave life also took it, embodying the profound duality that defined this civilization. And then, as mysteriously as it rose, its power began to wane. By the 13th century, the great city of Chichén Itzá was largely abandoned. The bustling plazas fell silent. The temples, once vibrant with ceremony, were slowly reclaimed by the jungle. Why? Was it drought? Warfare? Internal rebellion? Or did the people simply move on, their cosmic cycle complete? leaving their stone gods to slumber under a blanket of green. The jungle kept their secrets safe for centuries, until explorers stumbled upon its vine-choked ruins, and the world was reminded of its forgotten grandeur. Today, as we walk among these incredible structures, we are walking through a mystery. We see the genius, we feel the power, but the full story remains just out of reach. The origins of its founders. The reason for its decline, these are the questions that continue to haunt archaeologists and inspire awe in millions of visitors. Chichén Itzá is more than just a ruin. It's a living question, a stone-carved riddle that challenges our understanding of the past. It teaches us that even the greatest empires can fade, but the mysteries they leave behind can last forever. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the dawn of Chichén Itzá. The story is far from over, and there are so many more secrets to uncover. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the past, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more adventures into our world's most fascinating mysteries. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Last time, we left a Maya civilization at a crossroads, with great cities of the southern lowlands mysteriously declining. But as one chapter closed, another, even more spectacular one, was about to begin. Far to the north, on the Yucatan Peninsula, a new power was stirring, a city destined to become the heart of a revitalized Maya world. The legendary Chichén Itzá. Imagine a vast, flat limestone plain, covered by dense, thorny jungle. It's a land with no visible rivers, where the only source of fresh water lies hidden underground in vast cave systems and sacred natural wells, known as... It was here, around two of these life-giving, that Chichén Itzá, meaning at the mouth of the well of the Itza, was born. This location wasn't just practical, Itza was sacred. The Maya believed these cenotes were portals to Xibalba, the underworld, gateways to communicate with the gods. The city's very foundation was built upon a connection between the earthly and the divine. But even in this golden dawn, the seeds of mystery are sown. Who were the first builders of Chichen? Was it the Itza people themselves? Migrants from the west, as their name suggests? Or were they descendants of an older, forgotten kingdom? Archaeologists still debate the origins of its founders. The puzzle deepens when we realize that beneath every magnificent temple we see today, there often lies another, older wana, city layered like time itself, each layer telling a different story. The stones of Chichén Itzá, whispered tales of influences from across Mesoamerica. We see the fierce imagery of feathered serpents and warrior columns, reminiscent of the powerful Toltec civilization from central Mexico. We find depictions of deities and architectural styles that seem foreign to the deep jungle of the Yucatan. It's as if the city was born from a great gathering of civilizations, a cultural fusion that created something entirely new and breathtakingly unique, setting Chichen apart from any other Maya site, whatever the precise truth of its origins. By the 10th century, the city's rise was unstoppable. It was becoming a bustling metropolis, a center of commerce, religion, and political power. The forgotten empire of the classic Maya had found its crown jewel, a city destined to echo across millennia. But the story of Chichén Itzá is not one of conquests in the traditional sense. As the jungle slowly wrapped itself around these sacred stones, the people of the city looked upward not to dominate, but to understand the cosmos. To them, heaven and earth were intimately connected through ritual, architecture, and the relentless passage of time. They observed the sun, the moon, and the stars with astonishing precision, believing that the universe operated on grand divine cycles. And in the centuries to come, they would carve this profound belief into stone, creating monuments so astronomically precise that even the sun itself would seem to bow before their design. This was a civilization that built calendars more accurate than those in Europe at the time. They charted the path of Venus with incredible detail and understood the concept of zero long before many other cultures. Their knowledge of mathematics and astronomy wasn't just for scholarly pursuit. It was woven into the very fabric of their society, dictating everything from when to plant crops to when to perform sacred ceremonies. This deep cosmic understanding was the driving force behind the city's most iconic structures. They didn't just build temples, they built celestial clocks. They didn't just carve statues. They created portraits of gods and star patterns frozen in stone. Every alignment, Every shadow cast was a deliberate message, a dialogue between humanity and the cosmos. As we stand on the precipice of its greatest era, the terminal classic period, we can feel the energy building. The population is swelling, trade routes are expanding, and a new, ambitious vision for the city is taking shape. The stage is set for an architectural and cultural explosion that will leave the world in awe for centuries to come. We'll witness the construction of its most famous pyramid, El Castillo, and see how the Maya made the gods themselves descend from the heavens in a spectacular play of light and shadow. The story of Chichén Itzá is just beginning, deep in the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula. Where the air hangs thick with the scent of earth and ancient stone, lies a city lost to time, a place shrouded in mystery, where the whispers of a fallen civilization echo on the tropical breeze. This is Chichén Itzá. Imagine a sprawling metropolis, rising from the dense, unforgiving jungle. A world where serpents slither down the sides of towering pyramids, not of flesh, but of shadow and light, summoned by the sun itself. This wasn't just a city, it was the center of a universe, a sacred nexus where humanity touched the divine. For centuries, its magnificent temples and observatories lay dormant, swallowed by vines and forgotten by the outside world. The stories of its people, their triumphs, their rituals, their sudden, puzzling disappearance, all became the stuff of legend. Then, in the 19th century, explorers, guided by local lore and a thirst for adventure, hacked their way through the wilderness. What they uncovered would rewrite history. They found not crumbling ruins, but a testament to a people of incredible genius. Astronomers, mathematicians, architects, and warriors. This was the home of the Itza people, the wise men of the water, who built a cosmopolitan capital that drew pilgrims from across Mesoamerica. The climate here is a relentless cycle of sun and rain, a force that shaped both the land and the people who called it home. The blistering heat of the dry season gives way to torrential downpours, feeding the lifeblood of this region. The sacred these natural, water-filled sinkholes were seen as gateways to the underworld, portals to the gods. It was around these vital sources of water that Chichén Itzá was born, and from them it drew its power and its name. The very air here feels different. There's a palpable energy, a sense of awe that stills the mind and sparks the imagination. Standing before the colossal pyramid of Kukulcan, also known as El Castillo, you can't help but feel small, a fleeting visitor in a story that spans millennia. You can almost hear the rhythmic beat of drums, the chants of priests, the roar of the crowd during a sacred ball game where the stakes were life and death. This city was built with a celestial purpose. Every structure, every carving, every alignment was meticulously planned to mirror the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars. It is a stone calendar, a cosmic clock that connects the earthly realm with the heavens above. The Maya who built it were masters of time, and they left their knowledge encoded in the very fabric of this place. But the story of Chichén Itzá is not just one of glory, it is also one of profound mystery. Why, at the height of its power, was this magnificent city abandoned? What secrets lie hidden beneath its plazas and within its unexplored chambers? These are the questions that have haunted historians and archaeologists for generations. The answers are as elusive as the jaguar that prowls the surrounding jungle at night. Join us on a journey back in time. We will walk the sacred causeways, descend into the mystical cenotes, and decode the secrets of the serpent god. We will explore the lives of the people who thrived here, their complex society, their brilliant innovations, and the enduring legacy they left behind. Forget the postcards and the guidebooks. We are going to uncover the true soul of Chichén Itzá, the beating heart of the Mayan world. The stones are ready to speak. The question is, are you ready to listen? The adventure begins now. Imagine a city born from a divine vision, a metropolis of stone rising from the dense Yucatan jungle. Not just for people, but for the gods themselves. This is the story of Chichén Itzá, the magnificent city of the Maya, and how its legendary architects built a bridge between heaven and earth. How did a society from over 1,000 years ago achieve such incredible feats of engineering and astronomical precision? Today, we journey back in time to uncover the secrets of the sacred city and its builders of stone. Long before the first stone was laid, the land that would become Chichén Itzá was already sacred. Its name, at the mouth of the well of the Itza, points to the vital cenotes, natural sinkholes, that were seen as gateways to the underworld Shabala. Early settlers, drawn by these life-giving waters, began to shape a community around them. But this was no ordinary settlement. Their leaders, part king, part priest, envisioned a city that mirrored the cosmos. The myths speak of the Itza people, a mysterious lineage who, guided by prophecy and divine mandate, chose this spot to build their capital. They believed they were destined to create a place where humans and gods could commune, a physical manifestation of their spiritual beliefs. The very layout of the city was a map of their universe, a grand design meant to honor the cycles of the sun, moon, and stars. Building a city like Chichén Itzá was a monumental undertaking. The Maya architects were masters of their craft, working without metal tools, wheeled vehicles, or beasts of burden. So, how did they do it? Their primary material was the abundant limestone of the Yucatan Peninsula. Quarrying these massive stones was an art in itself. Workers would use harder stones like chert to chip away at the limestone, or cleverly exploit natural fissures. They would cut channels into the rock, insert wooden wedges, and soak them with water. As the wood expanded, it would split the stone with immense force. Transporting these multi-ton blocks was a testament to human ingenuity and communal effort. Logs were used as rollers, and causeways known as sakbib, literally white roads paved with crushed limestone, connected quarries to the construction sites. An immense labor force, organized with incredible efficiency, was required. It's likely that this labor wasn't forced servitude, but a form of civic or religious duty, with communities contributing their time and energy to erect these sacred structures. The Maya developed a unique type of concrete and mortars from burned and crushed limestone, which bound the stones together and allowed them to create their iconic corbelled arches and vaulted ceilings, giving their temples and palaces their distinctive shape. But Maya architecture was never just about function. It was a language of symbols. Every temple, every plaza, every carving told a story. The jaguar, a symbol of power in the underworld, is a common motif. The Chakmul statues, reclining figures holding a vessel, are believed to have been used in rituals, perhaps holding offerings or the hearts of sacrificial victims. The layout of the city itself was a cosmic diagram. The placement of major buildings was not random. It was meticulously aligned with celestial events. Astronomy wasn't just a science to the Maya. It was the foundation of their religion, their calendar, and their very existence. They believed the gods communicated through the movements of the stars, and their city was built to listen. By observing the heavens, they could predict seasons for planting and harvesting, mark sacred dates, and ensure the harmony between the human world and the divine realm. Their city was a giant, living observatory, and at the heart of this cosmic observatory stands the most iconic structure of all. The Temple of Kukulcán, also known as El Castillo. This pyramid is not just a building. It's a stone calendar, a marvel of astronomical precision dedicated to the feathered serpent god. Let's break down its genius. The pyramid has 4 sides, each with a 91-step staircase. Add these up, and you get 364 steps. The top platform makes the 365th step, one for each day of the solar year. The 9 terraces on each side represent the 9 levels of the Maya underworld. The 52 panels on each side correspond to the 52-year cycle in the Maya calendar, the point when their solar and sacred calendars would align. It's a perfect synthesis of their understanding of time and cosmology, all encoded in stone. But the true magic of El Castillo happens twice a year, during the spring and fall equinoxes. As the sun begins to set, an incredible phenomenon unfolds. The corner of the pyramid as terraces casts a series of triangular shadows onto the balustrade of the northern staircase. As the sun sinks lower, these triangles merge, forming the body of a serpent that appears to slither down the pyramid, finally joining the giant stone serpent head at the base. This is Kukulcan, the feathered serpent, descending from the heavens to bless the earth. Imagine the scene. Thousands of people gathered in the Grand Plaza, watching in awe as their god made his annual journey. This was not just an astronomical event. It was a profound religious experience. a confirmation of their beliefs, and a signal of the changing seasons, the spring equinox, marking the time for planting, the fall for harvest. The myth of Kukulcan is central to Chichén Itzá. He was a creator god, a bringer of knowledge, law, and civilization. His return was a moment of renewal and power. The rituals surrounding the equinox would have been elaborate and deeply significant. Priests would have led ceremonies, made offerings, and perhaps performed sacred rites to welcome the god. The descent of the serpent was a divine promise of fertility, order, and the continuation of the cosmic cycle. It was a moment that reaffirmed the power of the rulers, who, as intermediaries to the gods, could seemingly command the sun and stars. This fusion of myth, astronomy, and architecture is what makes Chichén Itzá so captivating. The city was more than a home. It was a living, breathing instrument designed to track the cosmos and commune with the divine. The builders of stone were not just engineers. They were astronomers, priests, and visionaries who left behind a legacy that continues to inspire wonder today. From the sacred wells that were gateways to the underworld, to the celestial blueprint that guided its construction, Chichén Itzá stands as a powerful symbol of Maya ingenuity. In the heart of the jungle, they built a city for the gods, and in doing so, left an eternal message written in stone and starlight. The shadow of the serpent still descends every year, a timeless reminder of a civilization that saw the universe not just above them, but all around them, and built their world to be a part of it. We're journeying deep into the heart of the ancient Maya world, to the magnificent city of Chichén to uncover the secrets of its most iconic structures. We'll explore a game where the stakes were life and death, gaze at the stars through the eyes of Maya astronomers, and stand before the temple of fearsome warriors. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Imagine a packed stadium, the roar of the crowd echoing off stone walls. But this is no ordinary sport. This is the Maya ball game, played right here in the Great Ball Court of Chichen. Itza, the largest in all of Mesoamerica. The rules were complex. Players couldn't use their hands or feet. They had to strike a solid rubber ball, weighing up to 9 pounds, with their hips, thighs, and sometimes their forearms, aiming to pass it through a stone hoop set high on the wall. Think of the incredible skill and athleticism required. But this was far more than just a game. It was a deeply symbolic ritual, a reenactment of Maya creation myths. The court itself represented the world, and the movement of the ball mirrored the cosmic struggle between day and night, life and death. The ball symbolized the sun, the moon, and the stars. Keeping it in motion was crucial, just like keeping the cosmos in balance. The stakes were impossibly high. While scholars still debate the specifics, inscriptions and art suggest that the game could end in human sacrifice, possibly for the losing team, or sometimes even the victorious captain, who would be given the ultimate honor of dying for the gods. Archaeological finds from courts like this one have been incredible. We've unearthed intricate stone panels, called reliefs, that depict the players in their elaborate gear yokes around their waists, knee pads, and spectacular headdresses. Some carvings even show the grim aftermath, confirming the ritualistic importance of the game. These discoveries give us a direct window into a worldview where sport, religion, and cosmology were inseparable. It was a spectacle of divine power, human skill, and ultimate sacrifice. Now, let's turn our gaze from the earthly court to the heavens above. The Maya were master astronomers, and their genius is immortalized in a building known as or the snail, because of its internal spiral staircase. This wasn't just a beautiful tower, it was a sophisticated observatory. Its windows and doorways are not random. They align perfectly with key celestial events, the setting of the sun on the equinoxes, the northernmost and southernmost points of Venus's path in the sky, and other significant star positions. For the Maya, time was not linear but cyclical, and the cosmos was a living, breathing entity. Tracking the movements of the sun, moon, and planets was essential for their survival and their society. These celestial cycles dictated everything: when to plant and harvest crops, when to wage war, and when to perform important religious ceremonies. The priests and rulers who could interpret the sky held immense power. They were the timekeepers, the calendar keepers, who could seemingly predict the future and communicate the will of the gods to the people. By mapping the cosmos, the Maya were creating a blueprint for life on Earth, ensuring harmony between the human world and the divine. From the stars, we now descend to the Temple of the Warriors, a breathtaking structure that speaks of power, conquest, and cultural exchange. Its front is flanked by a forest of carved stone columns, each one representing a fierce Maya warrior in full battle regalia. As you walk among them, you can almost feel their stoic presence, guardians of this sacred space for eternity. But what truly captures the imagination are the enigmatic figures found here. The Chak Mules. These are reclining statues, holding a bowl or plate on their stomach. It's believed these bowls were used to hold offerings for the gods, perhaps even the hearts of sacrificial victims. The Temple of the Warriors is a testament to the military and religious might of Chichén Itzá during its later period. It was a place for large-scale ceremonies, designed to impress and intimidate, showcasing the city's power. Interestingly, the architecture and iconography here show a strong influence from another great civilization. From central Mexico, this blend of styles suggests a period of intense cultural interaction, whether through trade, alliance, or conquest. The Temple of the Warriors, therefore, isn't just a Maya monument, it's a symbol of a connected Mesoamerican world, where ideas, beliefs, and power flowed between great peoples. From the deadly ball game that mirrored the cosmos, to the observatory that mapped the heavens, to the temple that honored its earthly protectors, Chichén Itzá reveals a civilization of incredible depth and sophistication. It shows us a people who saw the sacred in every aspect of life, from sport to science to warfare. The stones of this ancient city still have so many stories to tell. Before the first stone was lifted at Chichén Itzá, before the feathered serpent cast its shadow on the steps of El Castillo, there was a world shrouded in jungle and silence, a world ruled by the rhythm of stars and rain. Long before Columbus crossed the ocean, before Rome fell, before even the pyramids of Europe's ancient world had weathered to dust, the Maya civilization flourished deep in the heart of Mesoamerica. Their cities rose from the forest floor like emerald islands, places of science, religion, and power, hidden beneath the canopy of sacred ceiba trees and the eternal hum of cicadas. It was here, in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, that humanity dared to build not just temples, but entire calendars of stone-living monuments to time itself. The Maya were not a single, unified empire, but a brilliant constellation of cities. Each was ruled by kings who claimed divine blood, leaders who communed with the gods. Their power didn't flow from iron or the wheel, but from something far more profound: knowledge. They were masters of astronomy, mathematics, and the sacred cycles of the heavens. They mapped the precise movements of Venus, charted solar and lunar eclipses centuries in advance, and built observatories that aligned perfectly with the cosmos. To the Maya, the universe wasn't distant or abstract. It was alive. The gods spoke through the stars, and time was a divine current that could be measured, shaped, and honored. From this profound understanding emerged cities that were more than just settlements. They were reflections of the cosmos on Earth. They were physical calendars carved into limestone, designed to connect the mortal world with the celestial realm. By the year 600 CE, their world was entering a golden age. This period, known as the Classic Maya period, saw cities like Palenque, Tikal, and Calakmul reach heights of sophistication that rivaled any civilization on the planet. Towering temples, their stone facades reaching for the sun, pierced the jungle skyline. Imagine standing at the base of Temple for Tikal, looking up at a structure that was, for centuries, the tallest man-made building in the New World. Inside these temples and palaces, painted murals told vivid stories of gods, kings, and creation. They depicted elaborate courtly scenes, brutal battles, and divine rituals in breathtaking detail. And everywhere, there were glyphs. The Maya developed one of the most sophisticated writing systems in the ancient world, a complex and beautiful script that recorded every breath of their history. Wars, alliances, eclipses, and even dreams. They didn't just build monuments, They wrote their story into the very stone of their cities. But this world of jungle cities and divine kings was not the whole story. Far to the north, in the dry, flat limestone plains of the Yucatan, another destiny was forming, one that would outlast them all. This region was different. It lacked the great rivers of the southern lowlands. Here, life-giving water flowed underground. Beneath the dense green canopy lay a hidden world of rivers made of stone, carved by millennia of rainwater into vast underground caverns and sinkholes known as. To the Maya, these were not just sources of fresh water. They were sacred gateways, portals to Xibalba, the mystical underworld of gods and ancestors. They were places of pilgrimage, sacrifice, and rebirth. And it was here, gathered around these sacred wells, that the city of Chichén Itzá would rise. Its name literally means, at the mouth of the well of the Itza. This new power in the north was different. It was a cosmopolitan hub, a melting pot of cultures. Influences from central Mexico, particularly from the powerful Toltecs, began to merge with Maya traditions. This fusion created a new architectural style, a new religious vision, and a new kind of power, while the southern cities were collapsing, one by one, for reasons we still debate today: drought, warfare, political instability. Chichén Itzá was just beginning its ascent. The city's design reflects this blend of worlds. You see the classic Maya chacmal figures, reclining statues holding offerings, alongside imagery of the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, known to the Maya as Kukulcan. This deity, a symbol of creation, resurrection, and power, would become central to the identity of Chichen Itzá. The city was not just a collection of buildings. It was a grand, theatrical stage for ritual and power. The Great Ball Court, the largest in all of Mesoamerica, hosted ceremonial games where life and death hung in the balance. The Temple of the Warriors, with its vast group of 1,000 columns, once supported a roof over a sprawling meeting hall, its pillars carved with the likenesses of fearsome Toltec warriors. And at its heart stood El Castillo, the Temple of Kukulcan. The pyramid is more than just a temple. It's a masterpiece of astronomical engineering. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps. If you add them all up and include the final platform on top, you get 365, the number of days in a solar year. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, a remarkable event unfolds. As the sun sets, its light and shadows create the illusion of a massive serpent slithering down the pyramid's northern staircase, a physical manifestation of the god Kukulcan returning to Earth. Chichén Itzá became the dominant power in the Yucatan for centuries. It controlled trade routes, demanded tribute, and its religious influence spread far and wide. But like all great empires, its time was not infinite. By the 13th century, its power began to wane. The city was eventually abandoned, its great plazas falling silent, its temples slowly being reclaimed by the relentless jungle. For centuries, it remained a ghost city, a place of myth and legend for the Maya people who still lived in the surrounding lands. It wasn't until the 19th century that explorers began to uncover its secrets, hacking through the vegetation to reveal the breathtaking scale of what had been lost. Today, Chichén Itzá is one of the new 7 wonders of the world, visited by millions who come to stand in awe of its grandeur. But as you walk through its ancient avenues, remember that this city is more than just a ruin. It is the final, spectacular chapter of the Maya story. It is a testament to their genius, their resilience, and their profound connection to the cosmos. It is a stone calendar, an astronomical clock, and a gateway to a world that, for 1,000 years, measured time by the movement of the stars and the shadow of a serpent god. Imagine it. The 8th century. The air is heavy with humidity, thick with the calls of macaws and the sweet, intoxicating scent of blooming orchids. Deep in the heart of the Yucatan jungle, a small settlement begins to form around a natural well. A life-giving source of water in this limestone landscape. The people call it the Well of Itza. They build simple shrines, which soon grow into temples, and before long, a city begins to rise from the jungle floor. Dynamit, Chichén Itzá, at the mouth of the Well of the Itza. From this sacred ground, a new center of power emerges. This isn't just a settlement, it's a magnet. Traders carrying precious obsidian and jade, fierce warriors with feathered shields, and brilliant astronomers who map the heavens all converge here. They are drawn by the city's growing reputation as a nexus between worlds, a place where the physical and the spiritual meet. Over the next few centuries, Chichén Itzá becomes the undisputed, beating heart of the northern Yucatan Peninsula. It's a metropolis where science and faith, the earthly and the divine, are not just connected, but completely intertwined. But even in this golden dawn, the seeds of profound mystery are sown. Who were the very first people to lay the stones of this magnificent city? Was it the Itza people themselves, migrants who journeyed from the west, or were they the descendants of a much older, forgotten kingdom whose name is lost to time? To this day, archaeologists are locked in debate over the true origins of its founders. You see, Chichén Itzá is like a geological cross-section of history. Beneath every grand temple lies another, older one, and another beneath that a city, layered like time itself, each layer holding its own secrets. As excavators dig deeper, the whispers from the stones grow louder. They tell a story not just of the Maya, but of a grand cultural melting pot. The art style shows distinct influences from the Toltecs of central Mexico. The deities carved into the walls are not just local gods, but figures worshipped hundreds of miles away. The very architecture, the columns, the grand plazas, elements that seem foreign to the deep jungle of the Yucatan. It's as if Chichén Itzá wasn't just built, it was assembled, born from a gathering of civilizations. This fusion of ideas and styles is what made it unlike any other Maya site, a truly unique jewel of Mesoamerica, whatever the precise truth of its origins. By the 10th century, the city's rise was unstoppable. This sprawling Maya civilization, sometimes referred to as a forgotten empire, had found its crown jewel city, destined to echo across millennia. Its influence stretched across the peninsula. Its trade routes were the arteries of the region, and its priests held sway over the spiritual lives of thousands. But history is a cycle of rise and fall. As centuries passed, the vibrant city eventually began to decline. Its great plazas grew quiet, its markets emptied, and the jungle, ever patient, slowly began to reclaim what was hers. Vines wrapped themselves around the sacred stones. Trees pushed through the floors of palaces, and the once thriving metropolis was swallowed by a green tide, becoming a legend whispered among the Maya who remained. For hundreds of years, it lay dormant, a sleeping giant hidden beneath a canopy. Then, in the 19th century, explorers, drawn by those same whispers and legends, hacked their way through the dense vegetation. What they found stunned the world. They uncovered not just ruins, but a lost world of breathtaking scale and sophistication. The legend was real. As the jungle was carefully peeled back, the people of Chichén Itzá seemed to come back to life through their creations. It became clear they were a people who looked upward. Their ambition wasn't just to conquer land, but to understand the cosmos. For them, heaven and earth were not separate realms. They were intimately connected through complex rituals, precise architecture, and the sacred rhythm of time itself. And in the centuries of their golden age, they would carve that belief into stone, creating monuments so astronomically precise that even the sun and the stars would seem to bow before their ingenious design. These weren't just buildings, they were cosmic clocks, calendars in stone, and stages for divine events. As we continue our journey, we'll explore the city at its zenith. We'll witness the construction of its most iconic structure, the pyramid known as El Castillo, and see how, twice a year, the gods themselves descend in a spectacular display of light and shadow. The story of Chichén Itzá is far from over. In fact, we've only just scratched the surface. Deep in the heart of the Yucatan jungle, a hush falls over the land. But this is not a story of silence. It's a story of creation, of a city born from starlight and stone. Long before the world knew of our modern marvels, a civilization of profound wisdom laid the first foundations of what would become a legend, Chichén Itzá. These weren't just any builders. They were seers, mathematicians, and keepers of cosmic secrets. They looked to the heavens, not just for guidance, but for a blueprint. Every temple, every plaza, every stone was a deliberate stroke in a masterpiece designed to mirror the universe itself. Imagine that, a city not built on the earth, but with the earth, in conversation with the cosmos, without the aid of iron tools, without beasts of burden. The Maya raised a metropolis that spoke the language of the stars. The Grand Pyramid of Kukulcan wasn't just a structure, it was a calendar, a clock, a physical manifestation of time. Its stairways marked the days of the year. Its shadows, cast during the equinox, created a serpent of light slithering down its side, a divine spectacle connecting the heavens to the earth. But what fueled this incredible vision? What gave them the knowledge to align their world so perfectly with the celestial bodies? The answer lies not just in their intellect, but in their deep spiritual connection to the land itself. Beneath the porous limestone ground of the Yucatan, a secret world of water flows, a vast network of underground rivers and sinkholes, known as Sin. To the Maya, these weren't just sources of fresh water. They were sacred portals, gateways to Xibalba, the divine underworld. They were the veins of the earth, pulsing with life and spiritual energy. And at the heart of their new city, a giant, circular cenote became its sacred core, the well of sacrifice. Around this nexus of water and faith, Chichén Itzá was born. Think of the soundscape of its creation. Not the roar of modern machinery, but the rhythmic thud of stone being shaped by hand. The resonant chants of workers calling upon Kukulcan, the feathered serpent god who embodied the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. It was a symphony of human effort and divine inspiration, played out under the watchful eye of the tropical sun. This wasn't just construction, it was a ritual. Each stone laid was an offering. Each alignment, a prayer. The city rose as a living testament to their beliefs. A place where geometry and faith were one and the same. The very air must have crackled with purpose, as a city of prophecy took its first breath. As Chichén Itzá grew, it became a bustling hub of culture, trade, and knowledge. Its influence spread across Mesoamerica, drawing pilgrims, scholars, and artisans. The architecture tells a story of this cultural fusion. You can see the classic Maya style blending with influences from the Toltec people of central Mexico. This mix created a unique and powerful aesthetic, a visual dialogue between different traditions. Take the Temple of the Warriors, for instance. Its vast colonnades, filled with hundreds of carved columns depicting warriors in intricate detail, are a testament to this cultural exchange. Each pillar is a story, a soldier frozen in time, guarding the sacred precinct for eternity. Walking among them feels like stepping into a silent army, their stone gazes holding the secrets of a forgotten age. And then there's the Great Ball Court, the largest of its kind in the ancient Americas. This wasn't just a stadium for sport. The Mesoamerican ball game was a complex and deeply symbolic ritual. It represented the cosmic struggle between light and darkness, life and death. The acoustics are so perfect that a whisper from one end can be heard clearly at the other, over 160 meters away. Imagine the roar of the crowd, the thud of the solid rubber ball, the stakes impossibly high, as players reenacted the sacred dramas of their gods. The city was a living observatory. Structures like El Caracol, with its curious snail-shaped tower, were meticulously designed to track the movements of Venus, a planet of immense importance to the Maya. Its windows and doorways align with the planet's risings and settings at key points in its cycle. They weren't just watching the stars. They were in a constant, calculated dialogue with them, using this knowledge to govern agriculture, warfare, and ritual. But what happened to this magnificent city? Why was a metropolis so intricately woven into the fabric of the universe eventually abandoned? The story of Chichén Itzá's decline is as mysterious as its rise. There was no single cataclysmic event, but likely a combination of factors: prolonged drought, political strife, shifting trade routes. The celestial blueprint that guided its birth could unprotect it from the earthly challenges of a changing world. Slowly, the jungle began to reclaim what was once its own. Vines crept over carved reliefs, and roots fractured the sacred plazas. The chants of priests were replaced by the calls of birds, and the once thriving city fell into a long, deep slumber. For centuries, its secrets lay hidden beneath a blanket of green, a lost world waiting to be read. Today, as we walk through the cleared plazas and stand in the shadow of its pyramids, we are walking through the pages of a stone scripture. Chichén Itzá is more than just a ruin. It's a testament to human ingenuity, a reminder of a time when our connection to the cosmos was tangible, visible, and built to last for eternity. It teaches us that the greatest structures are not just built upon the ground, but are born from a profound understanding of our place within the universe. The stones still speak, if we only listen. They tell a story of a sacred city that rose from the jungle, touched the heavens, and became an enduring symbol of a civilization that mastered time, space, and spirit. It's a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder in all who visit. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to walk through a city built, not just of stone, but of stars and time itself? Today, we're not just visiting ruins. We're stepping back into a living, breathing metropolis of the ancient Maya. Welcome to the legendary Chichén Itzá. Story begins not with kings or conquests, but with the very land itself. Deep beneath the limestone plains of the Yucatan, a secret world exists, a network of underground rivers and sacred wells, the cenotes. For the Maya, these weren't just sources of water. They were portals, gateways connecting our mortal world to the divine realm of Shibal. One cenote, immense and perfectly circular, was chosen. It became the sacred heart around which a new city would rise. This is where Chichén Itzá was born, a breathtaking fusion of faith and geometry, of life-giving water and the boundless sky. Can you hear it? Close your eyes and listen. It's the rhythmic thud of stone against stone, a percussive beat that shaped a civilization. It's the distant chant of thousands of builders, their voices rising in unison, invoking the name of Kukulcan, the magnificent feathered serpent, the deity who bridges the heavens and the earth. Under the relentless gaze of the tropical sun, a city destined for greatness, a city of prophecy, began to take its magnificent shape. The master architects of Chichén Itzá were more than just builders. They were astronomers, mathematicians, and visionaries. They understood a profound truth, that the grand, swirling dance of the cosmos could be measured, and that architecture could become its perfect mirror on Earth. Every structure here tells a story. The Temple of the Warriors, with its imposing rows of columns, rises to honor the gods of conquest and sacrifice, a testament to the city's might. Then there's the observatory, known as Elk or the Snail. It's a marvel of engineering, spiraling upward like a celestial eye. Its windows and doorways perfectly aligned to track the movements of Venus, the star of war and prophecy. But it's at the city's absolute center that the most awe-inspiring structure of all began to emerge. El Castillo, the great Temple of Kukulcán. This pyramid is unlike any other on our planet. It's far more than a monument. It's a living calendar, a masterpiece of Maya science carved in stone. Think about this. Each of its 4 grand stairways contains 91 steps. The stairways, 91 steps each, plus the single platform at the very summit, equals 365 for every single day of the solar year. The precision is simply staggering, but the true genius of its architects is only revealed twice a year, during the equinox. As the sun begins its descent, its rays catch the temple's tiered edges at a perfect angle, casting a series of triangular shadows down the northern staircase. For a few precious, fleeting moments, these shadows connect with the serpent head carved at the base, and the illusion is complete. The body of a great serpent appears to be slithering down the pyramid. It is Kukulcan himself, descending from the heavens to bless the earth. In that moment, light and shadow, day and night, God and human, all become one. It's a spectacle that still draws crowds from across the globe, a silent testament to a knowledge we are still striving to fully comprehend. But a city is more than its temples. What was daily life like for the thousands who called Chichén Itzá home? Let's step away from the monumental center and into the bustling great marketplace. Imagine a vibrant scene, a kaleidoscope of color, sound, and smell. Merchants from across Mesoamerica gathered here, their stalls overflowing with goods. You'd see brilliant green quetzal feathers from the distant highlands of Guatemala, sharp obsidian for tools and weapons from the volcanic heart of Mexico, and precious jade, the stone of eternity. The air would be thick with the scent of copal incense, roasting corn and rich cacao beans, which were so valuable they were used as currency. Artisans would be hard at work, their skilled hands weaving intricate textiles, carving delicate figures from bone, and crafting pottery painted with scenes of myth and daily life. You'd hear the chatter of a dozen different languages and dialects, a testament to Chichén Itzá's status as a powerful economic hub. Life was structured with clear societal roles. At the top were the halak eunuch, the supreme ruler, and the high priests, who interpreted the will of the gods. Below them were the noble warriors and administrators who managed the city's affairs. But the vast majority of the population were the farmers, the artisans, the builders, the backbone of the city. They lived in humble thatch roof homes surrounding the stone core, their lives dictated by the agricultural cycles of maize, beans, and squash, the sacred three sisters that sustained the Maya people. They rose with the sun, tended their fields, and in the evenings, gathered with family to share stories under the starry sky, a sky they understood better than we do today. So why did this incredible city, at the peak of its power, begin to decline? The answer isn't simple. It's a complex puzzle that historians are still piecing together. There wasn't one single catastrophe, but likely a combination of factors. Prolonged droughts, perhaps linked to climate change, would have strained food and water supplies, leading to social unrest. Political infighting and increased warfare with rival city-states likely weakened its power structure. The intricate trade routes that were its lifeblood may have shifted, crippling its economy. Gradually, over decades, people began to leave, abandoning the stone temples and grand plazas for smaller, more sustainable settlements. The jungle, ever patient, began its slow, relentless process of reclaiming the city. Vines crept over carved stone, and the sounds of the marketplace were replaced by the calls of birds and the rustle of leaves. Chichén Itzá wasn't destroyed in a single, fiery cataclysm. It simply faded, its heart growing quiet, yet it was never truly lost. The knowledge of its existence was passed down through generations of Maya people, and today, it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Walking through Chichén Itzá is a profound experience. It's a journey that connects us to a civilization of incredible intellectual and artistic achievement. It reminds us that even the mightiest cities are subject to the forces of nature and the currents of time. But it also shows us that the human spirit's drive to understand our place in the cosmos, to build, to create, and to reach for the heavens, is eternal. The stones of Chichén Itzá still speak, and if we listen closely, we can still hear the echoes of their incredible story. Step away from the towering pyramids and hushed temples for a moment. Let's wander into the bustling heart of ancient Chichén Itzá, the great marketplace. Imagine the air, thick with the aroma of roasting corn, exotic spices, and fresh cacao. This wasn't just a place to buy and sell. It was the city's economic and social engine. Merchants from across Mesoamerica, traveling hundreds of miles by foot, would arrive here. Their canoes, laden with goods, navigated the coastal routes and inland rivers to bring precious materials to this landlocked city. They brought obsidian from the volcanic highlands for crafting razor-sharp tools and weapons, vibrant jade from the Motagua Valley for jewelry befitting royalty, and colorful macaw feathers from the southern jungles to adorn ceremonial headdresses. In return, Chichén Itzá, a major producer of salt from the nearby coastal flats, traded this white gold, which was essential for preserving food and for daily life. The marketplace buzzed with activity. You'd hear the rhythmic chip-chip-chip of a craftsman shaping a flint arrowhead, the chatter of women grinding maize on a stone metate to make tortillas, and the complex negotiations over prized cacao beans, which were used as a form of currency. Here, you could find everything. Sturdy pottery for cooking, woven cotton textiles and intricate patterns, powerful herbal remedies, and perhaps even captives from recent conflicts, their fates hanging in the balance. Daily life was a tapestry woven from the threads of agriculture, craft, and trade. While priests and nobles orchestrated grand ceremonies, it was the farmers, artisans, and merchants who sustained the city, their hands building the world beyond the stone monuments. But every aspect of this life, from the planting of corn to the outcome of a trade, was intertwined with the cosmos. The Maya lived in a world animated by gods and sacred forces. Their pantheon was vast and complex, with deities governing everything from the sun and rain to war and creation. At the center of their belief system was Hunabku, the supreme creator, and his son Itza, the lord of the heavens, day and night. But perhaps no god was more revered here than Kukulcan, the feathered serpent. The descent of his shadowy form on the steps of El Castillo during the equinoxes was unjust an astronomical spectacle. It was a divine assurance that the cosmos was in order, that the gods were present, and that the cycle of life would continue. The Maya tracked time with incredible precision using multiple sacred calendars. The 260-day Tolkien and the 365-day Hob meshed together into a 52-year cycle, dictating when to plant, when to wage war, and when to perform vital rituals. These rituals were the city's lifeblood. They included everything from simple offerings of food and incense to profound ceremonies of blood, where nobles and priests would pierce their own bodies to nourish the gods. This was seen not as a macabre act, but as a sacred duty to maintain balance between the human world and the divine realm. Every festival, every architectural alignment, every decision was guided by this deep, spiritual connection to the universe. Religion wasn't a separate part of life. It was the rhythm to which the entire city danced. And yet, this vibrant, divinely ordered city did not last forever. Around the 13th century, the great metropolis of Chichén Itzá began to decline. The grand plazas grew quiet, and the stone temples were gradually reclaimed by the jungle Watapanet. This is one of Mesoamerica's greatest mysteries, and there isn't one simple answer. Archaeologists have pieced together a complex puzzle of contributing factors. One leading theory points to severe and prolonged drought. As a society dependent on rainfall to fill its cenotes and sustain its crops, a shift in climate could have been catastrophic, leading to famine, social unrest, and a loss of faith in the rulers who were supposed to guarantee nature's bounty. There's also compelling evidence of internal strife and external conflict. The rise of a new, powerful Maya capital at Mayopan to the west likely shifted political and economic power, drawing trade routes away from Chichén Itzá carvings, and archaeological findings suggest increased warfare and militarism in the city's final years. Were the people overthrown? Did they simply migrate away in search of better resources? Or was it a combination of environmental stress and political turmoil that caused the city to collapse under its own weight? What's fascinating is that Chichén Itzá was never completely abandoned. For centuries after its political decline, it remained a sacred site of pilgrimage for Maya people, a ghostly but powerful testament to a glorious past. Its story didn't end, it simply transformed. For hundreds of years, the magnificent city lay largely hidden beneath a blanket of tropical forest, known only to the local Maya communities, who still revered the site. The outside world began to rediscover its grandeur through the chronicles of Spanish conquistadors and friars like Diego de Landa, who wrote about its immense structures with a mixture of awe and suspicion. But the true age of archaeological discovery began in the 19th and 20th centuries. Explorers and early archaeologists like John Lloyd Stevens and Frederick Catherwood arrived with measuring tapes and sketch pads, their detailed drawings revealing the city's splendor to an astonished world. Their work paved the way for massive excavation and restoration projects, most notably by the Carnegie Institution and the Mexican government. It was during these efforts that incredible discoveries were made, like the uncovering of the older temple hidden inside El Castillo and the dredging of the sacred cenote, which brought up a treasure trove of artifacts, gold, jade pottery, and human remains that offered a chilling glimpse into ancient rituals. Our understanding of Chichén Itzá is constantly evolving. Early interpretations saw it as a peaceful, mystical city of astronomers. Today, thanks to the decipherment of Maya writing and new archaeological techniques, we see a much more complex picture a powerful, cosmopolitan capital shaped by both trade and conquest, science and sacrifice. Each new dig, each re-examined artifact, adds another layer to its incredible story. Today, Chichén Itzá is more than just an archaeological site. It's a global icon. In 1988, it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognizing its outstanding universal value. Each year, millions of tourists from around the world walk its ancient causeways, marvel at the genius of El Castillo, and feel the powerful atmosphere of the Great Ball Court. Serves as a vital economic driver for the Yucatan region and a profound symbol of cultural pride. But this popularity brings immense challenges. The sheer volume of visitors puts a strain on the delicate stone structures. Environmental factors, like humidity and acidic rain, continue to erode the ancient carvings. Balancing the demands of tourism with the critical need for preservation is a constant struggle. Thankfully, dedicated archaeologists, conservationists, and local Maya communities are working tirelessly to protect this treasure. Their efforts ensure that Chichén Itzá is not just a relic of the past, but a living heritage for the future. The legacy of Chichén Itzá is immeasurable. Its towering pyramids and precise astronomical alignments continue to inspire awe and wonder, reminding us of the incredible intellectual achievements of the ancient Maya. Its art and architecture are a cornerstone of Mexican national identity and a source of deep pride for the millions of Maya people who live in the region today, many of whom still speak the language of their ancestors and carry on their cultural traditions. Chichén Itzá is more than a collection of ruins. It is a testament to human ingenuity, a window into a complex spiritual cosmos, and a mystery that still whispers through the jungle. It stands as a powerful reminder that even the greatest civilizations can fall, but their legacy, carved in stone and written in the stars, can endure forever. Step beyond the postcard image of a grand pyramid. Imagine Chichén Itzá, not just as a city of gods, but as a thriving metropolis, a bustling crossroads of ancient America. This was a city of people. Farmers tilled the surrounding lands, their lives dictated by the rhythm of the sun and rain, a rhythm calculated by the very priests who stood atop these temples. Artisans with skilled hands transformed raw materials into objects of beauty and devotion. In the sprawling marketplaces, a vibrant tapestry of commerce unfolded. The air would have been thick with the smells of cacao and spices, the sounds of bartering in a dozen dialects, obsidian for tools and weapons, precious jade for ornaments, and the iridescent feathers of the quetzal bird, more valuable than gold, all flowed through this city. But Chichén Itzá wasn't an isolated kingdom. It was a cosmopolitan center, a magnet for traders and travelers. From the highlands to the north, from a city called Tula, came the Toltecs. They weren't just merchants, they were cultural emissaries, warriors, and bearers of new ideas. They brought with them their own gods, their own art, their own blood. This encounter wasn't a conquest, but a fusion. A new, hybrid culture was forged in the heat of the Yucatan sun. You can see it etched into the stones themselves. The feathered serpents of the Maya, mingling with the powerful warrior figures of the Toltecs. Their languages intertwined, their beliefs merged, creating a unique identity that made Chichén Itzá one of the most powerful cities in Mesoamerica. This cultural fusion brought with it new rituals, a new intensity in the quest for divine favor. And nowhere was this more dramatic than in the Great Ball Court. Standing airy dwarfed by its sheer scale, you can feel the weight of history. This wasn't just the largest ball court in the Americas. It was a sacred stage. Forget everything you know about modern sports. The players who battled here were not just athletes. They were participants in a cosmic drama. The game, known as pits, was a reenactment of the eternal struggle between light and darkness, life and death. The solid rubber ball, impossibly heavy, represented the sun, the moon, or the stars. The players, using only their hips, thighs, and sometimes their forearms, had to keep this celestial body in motion, propelling it through stone rings set high on the walls. The sound of that ball striking the limestone would have echoed through the city like a sacred heartbeat. It was a spectacle of incredible skill and devotion, but it often ended in the ultimate offering, To lose or sometimes even to win could mean sacrifice, a final bloody offering to ensure the sun would rise again. Imagine standing in the great plaza at the city's zenith. It would have been an overwhelming sensory experience. The pyramids we see today as bare, weathered stone would have been coated in gleaming stuff, painted in brilliant shades of crimson, turquoise, and gold, shining like jewels in the jungle. Atop the Temple of Kukulcan, sacred fires would burn day and night, their flames reaching towards the heavens. The air, thick with the fragrant smoke of copal incense, would carry the rhythmic chants of priests, their voices echoing across courtyards filled with thousands of worshippers. To be here was to stand at the center of the universe, at the intersection of the earthly and the divine. It was a place where complex mathematics, which charted the movements of the stars with astonishing precision, met a deep, mystical faith. The entire city was a tangible expression of the cosmos, a universe carved in stone. But even the most magnificent empires carry within them the seeds of their own decline. Beneath the dazzling beauty of Chichén Itzá, a warning was etched in its very foundation. Every civilization that rises must eventually face its twilight. The light that burns the brightest often casts the longest shadow. As the centuries wore on, the foundations of this great city began to crack. Prolonged droughts, a recurring scourge in the Yucatan, would have strained resources and tested faith. The intricate web of trade routes that fed the city began to fray. Power shifted, new rival cities rose, and the constant threat of warfare eroded Chichén Itzá. The jungle, which had been held back for centuries by human will, grew restless. Its green tendrils began to creep back over the plazas, vines snaking up the temple steps. Slowly, silently reclaiming what was once its own, the bustling city fell quiet. The chants of priests and the roar of the bowl game faded into an echo, then into silence. Yet, even in its abandonment, Chichén Itzá never truly lost its purpose. Its stones, aligned so perfectly with the sun and stars, continued to speak the silent, eternal language of the cosmos. The spring and autumn equinoxes still send the shadow serpent slithering down the steps of Kukulcan, a timeless spectacle for no one and for everyone. The city's purpose simply transformed from a living capital to a silent guardian of knowledge, a testament to a people who dared to map the heavens. Today, Chichén Itzá has been reborn, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It is no longer a forgotten ruin, but a global icon. Each year, millions of visitors walk these ancient causeways, their footsteps echoing those of the Mayan and Toltec people from 1,000 years ago. They come to marvel at the architectural genius, to feel the palpable energy of the place, and to connect with a history that is both profoundly human and mystically grand. But this immense popularity brings its own challenges. The sheer volume of foot traffic, exposure to the elements, and the delicate balance of tourism and conservation present a constant struggle. Protecting this treasure requires a continuous effort, not just from international organizations, but from the local communities, some modern Maya people who are the direct descendants of those who built this city. They are the living stewards of this heritage, working to preserve not just the stones, but the language, traditions, and spirit of their ancestors. The legacy of Chichén Itzá is not confined to its archaeological boundaries. It is woven into the very fabric of modern Mexico and resonates with the identity of the Maya people today. Its architectural marvels and astronomical precision continue to inspire awe and curiosity around the world, reminding us of the incredible intellectual achievements of ancient cultures. It stands as a powerful symbol of human ingenuity, of our innate desire to understand our place in the universe and to build something that lasts longer than a single lifetime. When we look at Chichén Itzá, we are not just looking at a ruin. We are looking at a reflection of ourselves, our ambition, our spirituality, our brilliance, and our transience. It is a timeless story of a city that reached for the stars, and in its silent, majestic stones, continues to touch them. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the heart of the Maya world. If you found this as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring.